Lisa Chai is with us, Senior Research Analyst at Robo Global, joining me now. We've been talking about 5G for years, and now we hear how so many different cities have 5G capability. Where do we stand in the 5G rollout?
Hi, Nicole. We're definitely seeing signs of continued momentum in the rollout of the 5G deployment. According to Gartner, 5G network infrastructure spending doubled last year after rising 350% in 2019. So be prepared to see IoT-driven, AI-driven transformations are starting to take place everywhere. Whether you look at the sectors in consumer, industrial, and healthcare, they're all driving the demand for 5G network buildouts. So while we're not a 5G-focused fund, the build out of 5G is definitely an important driver for us. Robo Global strategies such as ROBO and THNQ, we have a key emphasis on companies not just powering the 5G connectivity, but also providers of testing, measuring, assembly, and packaging in the 5G infrastructure side. And also companies are going to massively benefit from the 5G build out. And I think that's a very exciting progress for us going forward.
When we talk about the different areas and 5G and trying to figure out exactly why it's so important, we know Verizon recently spent big to buy spectrum in the latest government auction. And now the question becomes, is Verizon the leader? Is it T-Mobile? I've heard a lot of good things about T-Mobile. Which company may be the leader? And then you really wonder, why are they spending so much?
Right. No, it's true. And I think it's really important to note what is really driving the 5G build out. I think consumers' demand for data and usage of social media has exponentially grown. And it seems really unstoppable at the moment. Many of us are also very comfortable using video streaming and using e-commerce sites to order groceries and all the items that we need. And work from home culture has also increased the demand for cloud capability. I think at the end of the day, 5G network is really being driven by demand for cloud and enablement. And we look at sort of the infrastructure side as how are we using our phones and how we use our infrastructure equipment companies has changed. So the industries that we're finding out is that they're looking for new ways to test the next generation 5G equipment. So there are many companies such as National Instruments and Teradyne that have solutions for 5G testing and measurement. And they're seeing their revenues growing and visibility improving from the 5G deployment.
And so when you think of names like Verizon and T-Mobile, I guess they're leading this fight, but you also have THNQ on your radar, just to name one. I mean, tell me about how it's all intertwined.
Well, so THNQ is our new strategy focused on pure play artificial intelligence companies. So we think that many of these companies will really benefit from the 5G deployment. So for example, you mentioned Tesla earlier. How can we talk about 5G and not talk about autonomous systems, right? So the 5G network connection will have a major influence on the development of self-driving cars. Tesla has numerous advanced sensors, and having more sensors is really not enough. What we need for true autonomy is to have smart sensors that communicate with one another, and we need wireless infrastructure like 5G to enable that self-driving technologies. We're also bullish in the video game sector. So THNQ has companies like Electronic Arts who are trying to position themselves to be the leader in the gaming world. And 5G is really changing how the games are played right now. Gamers will have many more options on how they interact with each other, engage with each other. And you may even want to play with an avatar that is powered by artificial intelligence. So there's a lot going on. I think the space is very dynamic. And we look at 5G as you got infrastructure companies, you got the carriers that you talked about, but also companies that are really benefiting from the 5G deployment.
How does the Robo, you have your own other fund, the Robo, right? Yes. How does that play in?
So ROBO has companies that are basically moving at the forefront of robotics and automation, and parts of it also is AI as well. These companies, we have much exposure in the manufacturing sector. So think about the build out of smart factories. powered by advanced sensors and analytics and AI. So companies like PTC and Rockwell are leaders that are providing some type of augmented reality solutions for that smart factory of the world. So we think that 5G will enable this connectivity that we're talking about that we need for these emerging technologies to improve the productivity enhancements and perhaps improve the safety of the factory workers. So we have also companies in healthcare. Think about remote patient monitoring or virtual care visits. All these type of digital health services will really improve with connectivity of the 5G connections. So we're also looking at companies even in cybersecurity as well. I think the downside of all this cloud activity that you're seeing is that 5G implementations will introduce new vulnerabilities. And so we have companies that have security features, companies like Cloudflare and Palo Alto Networks in the Think strategy that have solutions to protect at the device level. So we're seeing tremendous opportunities across the board on how 5G will impact us going forward.
Yeah, I know. You have Palo Alto, Dexcom, EA, Tesla talking all about robotics, AI, how it all and Cloudflare is also in there, right? So in the end, we're really looking at everything from e-commerce, work from home, cloud, data demand. What's the final takeaway here? Are there any losers when it comes to 5G?
I think right now, I think the empowering the cloud enablement. So if you have companies that are on legacy infrastructure, selling legacy tools and equipment for older generation technology, we're losing out. Companies that are really focused on hardware solutions that don't without the cable, without the cloud activity or enablement. So if you're not in the cloud at the moment, those are the companies that are probably going to be losing out.